This is First Contact, Stories of the Call Center.
It's interesting that you had these two parallel paths of the public speaking education part of the life that you've had, and then the part as an operator, and then being kind of rolled up into your family business in that first generation and taking it on to your second. Do you think you would have been as successful in your career had you chosen one or the other versus having both of these parallel journeys?
That's an interesting question. I would probably say no, I would not have been as successful because I had such a firm foundation of collection training from, one of the best in the business, my dad. And so having that education and then, having another mentor in college who was an incredible supporter of mine that said, you cannot give up this speaking that you love. You've got to be able to continue to do this. So it was interesting because my dad and my professor from the university used to butt heads sometimes. Because Dad was like, he's going to run my company. And she's like, yeah, but he's also going to speak. And for a really interesting relationship, but both of them were looking out for my best interest. So I think, and any educator will tell you this. We talk about how educators give and spend incredible amounts of time traveling and staying in hotels and away from your business. But the learning curve for an educator is tremendous. I have learned so much from my groups of people that I've trained, that I've implemented in my own company. And I think a true educator realizes that you'd never stop learning. And so that dynamic of working with people, helping them who maybe unknowingly they were helping me in return, because I came back to my company renewed and rejuvenated. And with a list of ideas, I'd go to my business partner and say, gosh, Dwayne, listen to this program they started in this agency out in Texas. Isn't that fantastic? And we would change our direction in the company. So no, I think if I had been on any one, I think it would have been an enjoyable career. Doing both has been a fantastic career, because when you can continue to do what you love in a variety of different directions, I think I think you can't get better than that.
I couldn't agree more. I think the idea that you're able to be genuinely curious through your career and be able to learn constantly and then have a passion driving that towards sharing and helping others. That's been your journey, right? Throughout your career, not to obviously oversimplify all the wonderful things you've done, but you've taken that piece and shared it with so many people and made it part of who you are. And I think a common theme of a lot of the guests we've had over these last 3 seasons is really people that love what they do and love learning, right? And so for all of those people that really want to find their niche, their place and where they can make a difference, or they can feel like they add value, what advice would you give them saying, these are the things that you could do to pursue? Is it fear that's keeping them back? What were the things outside of these two? Or was it truly your dad and this professor that were that catalyst that really allowed you to have those opportunities to embrace those things that you're so good at?
Yeah, I had two very assertive people in my life, and that's what made the dynamic interesting when my friend Dr. Mary Badami would come to our home, and because she became friends with my parents, and we would have these debates over the dinner table, and she would say to my dad, you're not going to take my boy into your agency and not let him speak. He's got to go on the road. And my dad would say, but we've been planning for this since the day he was born. He's got to run my company. And so I think finding a mentor, finding someone that will help make decisions. What I do in my life is I've got a handful of people that I reach out to that are good friends, that people that I respect, and not all of them are in our industry, and I run decisions by them. And believe me, the decision to sell my agency, the decision to purchase debt years ago, the decision to do more consulting or to join Applied Innovation, you don't take those decisions lightly. So I think, as a message for everybody listening, you got to go with your heart. You got to do what you love with your career, because we spend so much time in our lives working in a career.